Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Devin, and I'm going to be talking, hopefully helping quite a few of you when it comes to GMB Ranking Factors, Google My Business Ranking Factors. Just want to apologize for the presentation of this, just because I have to be switching between this browser and an incognito one just to get the right results to show you. So I know it looks a little tacky with the slides. But, it's not the important part. The important part is making sure that we can help one another provide value with our businesses and what we need to do to get more customers, and really thrive in this field. So starting off, I just really want to address GMBs, make sure we're on the same page here. GMB stands for Google My Business, and that's what's going to be in the map pack for Google. So what you guys see here is that, say, Junk Removal Miami, that's going to be the example we'll use today. When you type it in, you scroll down, you see these 3 listings here, and then you'll see websites. So this is all about GMBs. Google My Business is what dictates the map pack, what appears on there. So we're going to be talking about the 5 main ranking factors for how you can get your sites in that map. And the first one actually has to do with your organic ranking, so where your site actually shows up when you Google it. And so here's where I'll open that incognito tab just to show you guys what I'm talking about. Junk Removal Miami. So we have Evergreen Junk Removal, we've got Miami Junk Removal, and then we've got Dump Squad. I don't want you guys really being too concerned about Google Guaranteed, because obviously it's not doing enough to get us to the top, right? So we won't really talk about that today. But what you will see with Evergreen Junk Removal in Miami is that if we scroll down, these are the rankings I'm talking about. So Junk Kings 1, 1-800-GOT-JUNKS 2. We scroll down. Evergreen is number 7 on this list of page 1. And you'll see that there's a lot of correlation, about 90+% of the time, between where sites are ranking in this area of Google and then where they're appearing on the map pack. It's not always the case, but it's the most important factor, and we'll save that for another time as to how you get your sites up here. But Evergreen, it's number 7 on page 1. It's right here. So between Miami Junk Removal, their site is Junk Removal Miami Best, and then Dump Squad, their site is Dump Squad. We have to actually go all the way over to page 3 of Google in order to find out where they are. So we have Junk Removal Miami Best, and a little further down, we've got Dump Squad. So it goes to show, these companies are on page 3. So depending on your market, there's an opportunity too for you guys to get into that map pack without being on page 1 of Google. But again, it is the most important factor here. Going forward, number 2 is something called citations. Basically, how many places is your business listed? So think of this almost in the sense of like directories, right? Where can people find out who you are, and is it somewhere that's reputable? A good example of this is Yellow Pages. So Junk Removal Miami, scroll right down. You're going to need to have your name, your address, and your phone number. NAP, that's a NAP, name, address, phone number. That's what you're going to be putting onto sites like this that are around the web. So think local business directories, chambers of commerce, things like that. They're very reputable in the eyes of Google, and it's going to help you improve your chances of getting listed on that map pack. But in all fairness, as you start to do this, if you feel like you're going to go on a binge and you're just going to put, all the directories, right? As you start to do this, you will get spam calls. Even though these are reputable companies, they are also still businesses. They still have to monetize things. So you are going to get calls. There are going to be people who are going to be talking about your services. These directories will also sell your information to third-party people. So that might be where you get some of those other SEO service guys coming through for people who buy that. I honestly can't say I'm too familiar with that area of things when it comes to buying information, but just something to be aware of, that it does last 2 to 3 weeks from what I've seen when I did just throw a bunch of them on at once. HomeAdvisor will still call you no matter what. But moving forward, number 3, GMB optimization. Is your profile complete? After you get that postcard in the mail and you put in Google's little code, you put in, oh yeah, this is what we do. Here's our hours. We service this area. What else are you doing? Did you list your hours? Are you making blog posts on there? Are you uploading photos? Are those photos geotagged? Meaning like when you take a picture with your phone and you have the little location notification clicked on so that your phone, Google, can tell, okay, this is exactly the coordinates where you took this picture that has to do with your job. Are you putting keywords into it? So using evergreen junk removal as the example up here. So see, they've got their hours listed on here. A couple of pictures, some reviews, things like that. In all honesty, I'll slide this over a little bit. In all honesty, guys, they don't have too many pictures on here for being ranked top dog in Miami. So they must be doing something right when it comes to geotagging some other things on there. That's just something to look into. It's not always going to be necessary, but depending on what your competitors are doing, it might be necessary. So moving forward here to number 4, is the actual Google reviews. How many reviews do you have, and do you suck or do you not suck? Now, some of you might have just noticed when looking over at Evergreen, and I do want to stress this, that's important, is that Evergreen is number 1, and they only have 11 reviews. Right below it, it's Miami Junk Removal. They have 40 reviews. They almost 4 times as many reviews, and their rating's better, 5.0 to 4.9 on there. It just really goes to show how important it is to where your site itself is ranking on Google. Because remember, Miami Junk Removal, that was the Miami Junk Best. They were on the 3rd page of Google. So Google will say, oh, well, you're ranked on page 1. That's more important than having 4 times as many reviews to them. Their job is to provide the most authoritative, local, relevant content. So that's part of where your site ranks, and that ties into that there. Going on to the 5th factor here, it's going to be something called outside reviews. So how are your rankings on other pages? And I wanted to keep everything with Junk Removal Miami to show you guys this, but as I was clicking through it, once we actually go to their pages, you'll see here that they don't actually have outside reviews listed, because it's the 5th most important thing. It's just not as important. I keep doing that. I don't mean to open their webpage. But you scroll down on here, and there we go, Miami Junk. So what I did is I actually used an example that I found earlier today for junk removal out in a town called Bixby, Oklahoma, just to display what that is. So reviews from the web, when you see that on here. So see Facebook, it counts it, Thumbtack, it pulls their reviews just to display, hey, look, they're not just ranking well on Google. These other platforms, they're also still doing well. Again, not the most important thing. You just saw the ones in Miami don't even have that, especially the person who is number 1. It helps, but it's not the most important thing. So if you're going to get reviews, focus on Google reviews more than Yelp reviews. But also, if you're wanting your site to appear on that map in the top 3 so people can find you, remember, reviews are the 4th most important thing. So the last thing I really want to share when a bonus ranking factor, it's almost common sense in a way, but we forget about it. We're so caught up in our businesses that you need to have your Google My Business established and listed in the area that you're looking to rank in. So what I mean by that is that if we go here to Miami, junk removal, we still obviously have other companies that aren't technically in Miami that service Miami, but as we zoom out, it's not going to pull these places from Hollywood. It's not going to pull Fort Lauderdale, Kendall, Palmetto. It's not going to pull those because these businesses are established in Miami. So say if you're a company, for example, and you're in Hollywood, you're like, man, how do I get my Google My Business to rank down in Miami, but I'm in Hollywood? You can't. You need to set up an entirely new Google My Business in order for it to be there, or when you're setting it up, having it be part of your name, like Miami Hollywood Junk Removal. When you're setting up your GMB, put it in your service pages, all those little things. You can have multiple GMBs though, but we'll save that for another time because that'll be another 10 minutes. So last thing I want to touch on with you guys here is how long does this process take? Well, one, it's going to depend on how much you're already doing, right? It's going to depend on how much your competition is doing, how much competition you even have. If we're in a city like Miami and we have 500,000 people, we have a lot of people optimizing their sites, it's going to take a while. If we're in Bixby, Oklahoma, it's a town about 27,000 people, it's not going to take as long. So, how long have you been working on it? What is your competition doing? And then how can you just beat them with everything? So here's the 5 main factors for ranking. Here's some of it so that you can look to see how long this process takes. By all means, if I went a little too fast, I'm sorry. From the Northeast, I wind up just talking quick. But if you guys have any questions about it, please feel free to just comment on this post. I would love to be able to address all these things in one spot so that you guys can have just one referral to go to when you go back to the junk removal group. All the questions that you guys ask. There's probably 5 others wondering the same thing. I'd love to be able to help with you guys. If you're wanting to get in touch with me to say look more into your site, or if you just don't really feel like commenting, you don't want to put yourself out there like that, you're more than welcome to text me. You can call me, or we're on Facebook. Just message me. But I appreciate it, guys. I really hope that this helped you. So take care.